Today we'll be making this very powerful desktop speakers. Let's see how. For the amplification, we are using this module which I bought recently. This is a CD6283 dual 4.5 watt amplifier. This uses a power supply of around 12 volts and the performance is quite good. The board has 3 input wires like this connected to the bridge rectifier. So if you have a transformer, you can directly connect it to these wires. But we are going to skip the bridge rectifier and connect to the capacitor as we already have a filtered DC supply. These 4 wires are for the speaker output, which are 2 for the left speaker and 2 for the right speaker. And these 3 input wires are the stereo input, which can be connected to the audio jack. For the speakers, I am using these Audix company speakers, which as per the person who sold me are of very good quality. And also I have tested it before this circuit and I could see that the quality of the sound coming out of the speakers is really good. And for the input pin, this 3.5mm jack is the one which I am using. This is a metallic pin and it also has a spring at the back which can act as a support to the wires. For the input wire to this 3.5mm jack, we'll be using this old USB cable. We'll be needing 3 wires to connect to this pin, and the USB cable usually has 4 wires, of which we'll be using only 3. One for the left channel, one for the right channel, and one for the ground. I soldered the 3 wires coming from the audio jack on this board, replacing the existing wires. Here I have soldered 2 wires directly across the input capacitor, skipping the input bridge rectifier, as I'll be using 12 volts DC directly. Next, I replaced all the short pieces of wire on this board with new and longer pieces of wires. Next, coming to the speakers, we need some cabinet for the speakers and I am using these plastic containers as the cabinet. I have 2 such identical containers, and on the top of these containers I have marked the inner diameter of the speaker such that I'll cut this piece out and the speaker can fit in directly. I'll be using this blade and cutter to make the hole. After cutting, I have lightly sanded the inside to give it a smooth look and fit it snugly to the speaker. I have made 4 markings on the corners of the speaker to fix the bolt and nuts. Once done, the speaker will directly fit on the box like this. I have built one more speaker in a similar way. I I have covered all the solder joints and the wires on the board with some hot glue to prevent breaking of wires or the solder joints. This will also insulate the contacts and avoid any short circuit. Next, I made holes in the speaker cabinets for the wires to come out. I have also soldered the wires to the speakers. While soldering the wires to the speakers, make sure both the speakers are in phase. If the wires are connected in opposite way, then the sound coming out of the speakers will be very less. I am not using a separate power supply for the amplifier as it will get the power from the SMPS connected under my workbench. I will be using the yellow wire which is of 12 volts for this project. I am fixing the amplifier under my workbench and the wires will be going from here to the speakers on the top of the workbench. Once the wiring is done, now the speakers are ready to use. I have placed the speakers over my workbench on each corner of the table and I have connected the 3.5mm jack to my laptop. Now let's play something and see how powerful these speakers are.
Hey there, this is KHADER. Today we'll be making this rechargeable smart light which will turn on when there is no power in the home and the room is dark. Let's see how. So let us see the circuit first. The whole circuit gets the power.
As you can see, at 30% volume itself, the speakers are quite loud. And even the quality of sound coming out of the speakers is quite good. If I need to make some modifications, I would add a volume control potentiometer to the input pin, that is the 3.5mm jack. Also, I would like to add a switch to power on and off the speakers whenever I need them. So that's all for today's video. If you like this video, you might like some of my other videos too. Please check them out at Electronics Made Easy KHADER. Till then, I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.